Thanks for watching It's Your Money. I'm in the studio today with Brad Tafoya from Tafoya, Barrett and Associates, and we're going to talk about taxes, my favorite.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah, you know, I have a conundrum. Literally, I had an uncle tell me one time not to have any deductions for my federal taxes removed from my paycheck because I should save it up, invest it, take the interest, and then pay all my taxes all at once by April 15th. Is that a good idea?
Certainly you can do that. What most people don't realize, though, is that just like anybody else, the IRS wants to get their money, their cut, as you make it. And so whether you do that through monthly withholding or quarterly estimated tax payments, they want you to do that. If you don't do that, then they are going to charge you what's referred to as an underpayment penalty. It's described as a penalty, but really what it is it's interest. And so long story short, right now that interest rate is probably right around 4%. So
yeah, and you can't make that in a savings account.
You definitely cannot these days, for sure.
What about those who are self-employed? When should we handle our federal income taxes, or when do they apply to the wages I earn?
When somebody's self-employed, or perhaps when they have other income, investment income or rental income, they may need to make quarterly estimated tax payments. Those quarterly estimated tax payments are due every year on April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and then again January 15th.
What's the best way to figure out how much I'm going to owe for those quarterly tax payments?
Yeah, great question. Typically what we do, what we recommend for our clients is, you know, we're sitting here in 2017, and we're about halfway through the year. We don't always know for sure what the income is going to be like through the rest of 2017, especially if there's investment income or things that change. And so what the IRS rules are, you can either pay 100% of the prior year tax, so 100% of 2016. If your income is over a certain amount, then it's 110%. Or you can pay what you think your 2017 tax is going to be. So again, it's the lesser of those two amounts.
You know, one of the things that I always worry about when I was freelancing is all of a sudden getting a big contract and then having a big bump in my income for that year. How should I handle that?
Well, again, if we look at the IRS rules with regard to estimated tax payments, 100% of the prior year or what you think the current year is going to be. So you don't have to pay that tax now. You can wait until April of next year and pay the difference between you know, what it would have been and what it is with that increased income, and no penalties or interest would apply to that.
Okay, that's the big one right there. As long as you're doing at least what you did from the previous year, they're not going to get you.
Right. I've got one more point I'd like to add, because a lot of times, you know, we get questions from people about, well, you know, how much tax should I pay? You know, I don't want to pay too much, or a lot of people like to have that refund in April. They think of it as free money, and so as a tax guy, but also a financial planner, I like to counsel my clients that only pay as much as you should. You don't get any brownie points or any benefits for paying the government early, and so think about it. If you have had too much withheld throughout the year and you get a big refund in April, essentially what you're doing is you're giving the government an interest-free loan. They're not going to pay any interest when they give that refund back to you. So try to figure out exactly what you think you're going to owe, maybe a little bit more, and come in pretty close to that.
If you haven't done your quarterly payments this year, is it too late to get right with the government right now?
No, it's never too late. If you're doing quarterly estimated tax payments, again, the first two have already been made. You can make those up, whatever the difference was that you were underpaid in September, and again at the end of the year. If you're doing monthly withholding, you can always change your withholding. I think some employers maybe have some rules about when you can change the withholding or not. You know, but as long as it's okay with your employer, you should be able to change the withholding when you feel it's appropriate.
Okay, and when should you change your withholding? That's another big question for people.
Well, again, if you know that you've been underpaying based on last year, and you're worried about having that penalty apply, you might need to increase those withholdings now to make sure that you're even by the end of the year. A lot of times that may happen if people move in between jobs. They start a new job, they fill out their W-4 different than they had before. They recognize that, oh, my withholding is not going to be enough. You can then go change it to where it should be.
Okay, what about life events like having a baby or getting married or anything like that?
Those things will tend to also could impact the tax situation, and I think that's where, you know, hopefully if you're working with a CPA or a tax advisor, that you give them a call and make them aware of those things, and they can, advise you properly on whether or not the estimated tax payments need to be changed as a result of those life events.
Thanks, Brad. That was great information. I'm going to have to look at my withholding because I had to pay last year, and that kind of hurt. But maybe I can get my act straight with the government before the end of the year. And if you want to know any more about paying taxes, we all love to do it. You can go to tafoyabarrett.com.